Who deserves to be Ireland's number 1, number 10? That makes sense. Who deserves to get that number 10 jersey, essentially? So right now we have Prendergast, who's kind of leading the line, and then you do have Crowley, which is fighting for that position, right? This point of this video today is I want to kind of look into who deserves it more, right? Does Crowley, who has more international experience, someone who's a little bit more old, a little bit more experienced, does he deserve it over the up-and-coming Prendergast? 20 years old, big guy, big future ahead of him, but he's not as experienced. Who deserves it? Who deserves it more? Because you got to think, Crowley isn't old. We're not talking about some elite player like a Johnny Sexton and then replacing him with like a Prendergast or a Crowley, right? There's that age gap. There's that, we're talking about two young elite players fighting for the same position. Because obviously Johnny Sexton, he is now out of the picture, right? Somebody needs to take that mantle. And who deserves to take that mantle? So this is a video that I want to dive into not necessarily who I think, but I want to lay out some points and open up the conversation. Personally, I think Prendergast deserves that spot and will probably continue to be in that spot for the foreseeable future. But good performances from Crowley, because you got to think both of them are top level clubs. Good performances from Crowley could definitely see him take that spot from Prendergast. But who will be able to maintain it in the long run? Because like I say, they are both young guys. Who is fit to replace Johnny Sexton? So you guys got to bear with me. I've made a couple notes because I want to try and get as much information as I can through this video and try and give the best argument for both, right? And I want to hear your guys' thoughts as to who deserves the spot, Crowley or Prendergast, okay? So we look into their technical attributes, right? Jack Crowley, he's shown a lot of impressive rugby. He's more physical than Prendergast, right? But these two bring two completely different sides of rugby, right? They're two completely different entities, right? So his ability, so we're talking about Crowley now, his ability to control the game's tempo is phenomenal. This is something that I don't think Prendergast has yet, right? His ability to control the tempo, to dictate how things play in the best of times, right, is phenomenal. When things start to get tough, right, when you're up against your tougher opponents, I see Crowley having more trouble, right, to really hold that control. But it's still brilliant. And it does kind of bring comparisons to Johnny Sexton, who even Johnny Sexton, he is very much like Marmite. Especially since I've been talking about Johnny Sexton, he very much is like Marmite. I find it either you love the guy or you hate the guy. I've come across Irish people that are like, the guy is so we can't doubt his skill. Johnny Sexton has ridiculous skill, right? And this is where I tend to find a lot of comparisons between Crowley and Sexton. And Crowley's decision making, obviously I do feel it needs improving, but his decision making on a general standpoint is phenomenal. On a general standpoint is really, really, really good. And you look at him at club level and you can see why, why he is so damn good. His decision making 9 times out of 10 is right. So, like I say, he's a brilliant player, and his decision making is absolutely brilliant. But one thing that I don't know if it's just me, but I find he always likes to go the safe route, right? Instead of making instead of taking that risk, taking that leap of faith, he'd much rather play it safe. And I think sometimes that costs Ireland unnecessarily, right? He you always got to try and find this balance between safe, technical, and risky, right? And ultimately, I don't think you're going to get anywhere if you are too safe. And at points and in games, I find that sometimes he just plays it too safe. But again, that might just be my opinion. Obviously, I'm always open to hearing your guys' opinions on this. But I feel Prendergast, he's a little bit more charismatic in that aspect, and he's more keen to make a ridiculous kick, or to play a risk, than to necessarily, or not always, keep it safe, right? So you look at that, and now we compare it to Prendergast, right? His precision is absolutely amazing, right? His ability to pass the ball, his ability to kick the ball is phenomenal. And you got to think, he's 21 years old, so he's still really, really young. You look at the under 26 nations, he had this fearless mentality to just playmaking. Like, it was scary to watch how good he was. And I felt like everybody was here and he was here, right? He was just that mile above everybody else in the game. So he's more likely to play that risky pass, but his ability to unlock defenses was scary. And you look at Ireland playing now, yes, they're not necessarily the Ireland old, and I say that like it's not a big difference, but Prendergast, his natural ability to make plays, to find spots, to crossfield kicks and have that pinpoint accuracy is ridiculous at the age that he is, about 21 years old. So he's still a pup. He's still practically a baby of the game. His ability is far beyond his years, far beyond his years, right? We look at the actual talent and potential, because both of these guys have really, really high ceilings. Crowley, he's already been tested at international level. He's been tested up against some of the biggest teams. He has a lot of experience, especially at his age. He's 23, 24 years old, still very young, and he has a lot of international experience. And like I say, they both have very, very high ceilings. But you look at, for instance, Crowley, his ability under pressure can sometimes make or break him, but generally he's really good, and I think he is slowly growing into this leader, and having this leader role, which obviously, if he continues the way he is, he's going to make it very difficult for Prendergast to really make his, to stamp his mark on that number 10 jersey. But I find his ability also to play under different positions, like in that center role, is also brilliant, right? And playing at that inside center when he's needed really, really does make a big difference. So I just find it's going to be something. It's going to be something for the future. But you look at Prendergast's ability, right? Prendergast is a completely different ball game. This guy, he's, by all means, like, for me, he's one of these prodigies that are just coming through the game and just destroying everything, right? His calm demeanor, his maturity, far beyond his years. And he is yet to prove himself in international rugby, but it's only time to tell for that. All right, time is coming quick, and he's going to play a lot of international rugby if he continues the way he is. We move on to physicality, right? Crowley is a cornerstone of the modern day fly half. All right, he's demonstrated that he can handle the physical needs of the game. Right, he stands 6'1", 6'2", around 95, around 90 kilos, give or take, and he's big, he's strong, he can take the tackles, and obviously he can give them just as good, but it's his ability to recover after those tackles which make him so durable, right? And you look at Prendergast, who's slightly taller, but he's leaner. And he doesn't really have that physical profile that Crowley has, which sometimes you need, especially up against teams like South Africa, who are very forward heavy. And, having that is a plus, but at the same time, he's leaner. His ability to play out, to be quicker, that can also benefit instead of having that heavy, that weight behind him, because he's more nimble, he's quick off his feet. So you have a mixture between both, right? Pros to cons. Maybe it's a different play for a different team, different style, so it gives Ireland a lot of good choices, is what I'm saying. And then you look at the leadership of the game, right, and game management. Now, this is something that I feel Crowley has that Prendergast doesn't, or not yet, because I feel at points Crowley can manage a game better, and he's already shown a lot of glimpses as to taking Johnny Sexton's spot. But you look at the immense talent that Prendergast has. Who do you choose, right? Because I can definitely see Prendergast filling in these spaces as he gets older, right? Because you got to think, Prendergast maybe at the age of 23, 24, what kind of talent will he be having a 4 years in that number 10 role over Crowley, right? So, sorry about that, guys. I had a little something there. Where was I? So, Crowley at 24, whether he will be, because you got to think at certain ages, who's going to be the better leader for the team, right? Prendergast, what Prendergast could be within 4 years as to what Crowley could be in the next 4 years. You know what, let's not even say that. Up until the World Cup, because every team is now building to the World Cup stage, right? Who's going to have their team ready for the World Cup? Who is going to be your number one for the World Cup? Honestly, for me, I have Prendergast. Others have Crowley. 2 sets of skills. Who deserves that number 1 spot? Or number 10 spot? So, ultimately, who deserves to replace Johnny Sexton? I don't know, because Ireland have 2 amazing players. Who deserves that spot, right? And I think the World Cup is going to be that decider. Ireland are going to go between both of them for now. Obviously, I think Prendergast has that little step above Crowley, but I would love to know who you guys think will take that number 1 spot, because honestly, for me, it's Prendergast. And you look at the way he plays with freedom, right? Which is scary when you see a player play with this much freedom, and his ability on the dead ball as well, just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So one player to watch in this Champions Cup is him. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you guys do want to see more regular content, please like and subscribe, as it really does help my rugby channel grow. And on that note, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.